Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this video lesson about the causes and effects of the scientific revolution. I am Miss Jennifer Blank, and I will be your guide on this journey. I'm very excited. I love the scientific revolution. It is a very exciting time in European history, but let me not go on and gush about how much I love it. I really love most of the periods in European history, so it's kind of not fair. But anyway, let's get down to brass tacks, causes and effects. Okay, so causes are denoted in blue, and effects are denoted in red. Okay, so the causes are the printing press, medieval intellectualism in universities, Italian Renaissance and Humanism, the Protestant Reformation, an emphasis on math or an increased emphasis on math, patronage, and the Age of Exploration. The effects are the Enlightenment, Skepticism and independent reasoning, a decline or decrease in the influence of both church and religion, an increased emphasis on and exploration of the natural world. So that's an increase in emphasis and an increase in exploration of the natural world. The scientific method was also applied to politics and government and human society in general. So now, let's talk about each of these on their own, right? So the printing press should be pretty obvious to us, seeing as how we learned about why this thing was important way back in the first couple weeks of the school year, talking about the Renaissance, right? But let's review, right? The printing press allowed information to be reproduced and circulated very quickly and very cheaply. Now, because it was faster and cheaper, this made it more accessible to more people throughout European society. The spread of knowledge was very, very important in terms of scientific innovation. All right. Now, you may be thinking, why on earth are medieval intellectualism and universities on there? Like, isn't this an oxymoron? Like, these people were like all about the church, and, you know, so how could this help the scientific revolution? Well, the fact that there was a structure and a process of thought already in place for these scientists to work with, it gave them a place to start. And from there, they could modify, delete, add, innovate as necessary. But the fact that these universities were present, that there was a structure, an academic structure for this experimentation and innovation, really helped advance the scientific revolution forward. Okay, now, Italian Renaissance and humanism is, of course, key. Humanism, we all should know this, the belief in human achievement and human ability, in the idea that humans are able to choose their own destiny, and that if given the chance, humans will choose positively, right? This had huge impact on the scientific revolution as we were pushing these boundaries, pushing these envelopes, and questioning the church all the way. Which brings me to the Protestant Reformation, which was throw the gauntlet down right at the Catholic Church. This splintered the church, further weakening its power. Because now, instead of only one Christian, you have several different branches of Christians, right? And this weakened the church power, weakened the church's power because through the concept of divide and conquer, right? Now, also, we have an increased emphasis on math. Now, I know this sounds strange, coming from a history teacher, supposed to be like anti-math, and real talk, I was never that good in math. I tried really hard, but it was, you know, it was a tough one for me. But if you really want to significantly impact society, you need to learn some math. Okay, before each and every era where we have advanced technologically very quickly, math has played a direct role in that. So if you really want to make a splash on the world, as it were, you really need to focus down and get down those math skills, because you will use them later on. So emphasis on math. That allowed us to go to expound upon bigger theories, which allowed for greater inventions and a deeper development of human thought, right? And then we have patronage. So this idea that wealthy merchants or even nobles would pay artists, or anyone for that matter, to complete certain tasks or produce certain pieces. Patronage was also influential in the scientific revolution. And finally, the Age of Exploration. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've ever heard the phrase, necessity is the mother of invention? Necessity is the mother of invention. Basically, what that means, when you need something, when you really need it, you're going to sit there and tinker and try to figure out a solution to it. But until it's really necessary for you, you might not take the trouble. You know, you'd rather do something else. So necessity is the mother of invention. We started, the Europeans embarked on this era of exploration where we wanted to explore the new world, and they needed new resources. And so in order to do that, we need to invent things that could help us get to the new world, help us get to the other side, right? And that's what I mean by necessity is the mother of invention, right? So those are the key causes of the scientific revolution. Let's take a minute and examine the key effects, all right? Okay, so the Enlightenment. I love the Enlightenment. I'm obsessed with the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment is awesome. Okay, that's my favorite period in European history, in all honesty. I'm super excited. Can't wait for you to see those video lessons because I'm super pumped about the Enlightenment. I love the Enlightenment. The documents, they are so, they're just great. But okay, so the Enlightenment makes modern political theory possible in addition to the pushing of the envelope scientifically. The Enlightenment took the scientific method and applied it to society. This is how you get Republican systems of government. This is how you get the United States. This is how you get the American Revolution. It's also how you get the French Revolution, but well, let's cross that bridge when we come to it. All right, so the Enlightenment was very important. It's a whole era in history that we are going to talk about. So for now, just know that it was an effect of the scientific revolution. Next, skepticism and independent reasoning. The idea that you should question everything, that you shouldn't just take it as face value. All right, you should, if someone says something, or you read something or see something, you're supposed to question it, study it, observe it, and really determine if in fact it is true. Right? Then we also have a decline in the influence, and this is important, of both church and religion. This is where we differ from what was taking place in the Renaissance, in the Protestant Reformation, and in the Age of Exploration. During those periods, you had a decrease of the emphasis in the church in many areas, but not in God. Like the Renaissance, decrease in the emphasis of the church, but no change in the emphasis on God and faith. Okay? Faith and God were just as important as they ever were. It was just a decrease in the reliability and the trustworthiness of the church as an institution. But in the scientific revolution, and this process continues and advances in the Enlightenment, you get a decrease in religious observance as well, in this idea of superstition, in this idea that God controls everything. You get an increase in human skepticism and independent reasoning, independent of the Bible and independent of faith. This is important to note, important, distinct moment in time, right? Then we also have an increased emphasis, not just emphasis on, but exploration of the natural world, all right? So instead of focusing on the hereafter and the spiritual whatever, we are focusing on what is happening here. The natural, physical, human world that we can see, touch, taste, hear, smell, right? We also have this, and this ties in right with what I was saying about the Enlightenment. We have the scientific method applied to politics and government. This is going to fundamentally revolutionize the course of the rest of the planet. It would have more impact, of course, in the New World and in Europe, but don't be mistaken to think that it didn't impact other areas of the world. This emphasis on humans being able to chart their own destiny, to govern themselves. Okay, this comes directly from the scientific method. All right, and this ability to question and investigate and make improvements upon what was. All right, so this is all very important stuff. I hope you learned what you needed to. I hope this made sense, and I will see you in the next video.